Brendon Burchard is a 3-time New York Times bestselling author and high-performance coach who has trained over 1.5 million people. He went from struggling with depression and surviving a serious car accident to becoming the world's highest-paid motivation and marketing trainer. And today we're going to learn his best advice on why you must stop fearing rejection. Rise and shine, it's Entspresso time!
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and every morning I bring you a shot of Entspresso to help you believe in yourself more and start your day with confidence. So good morning, I believe in you, and let's do this. Over to you, Brendon Burchard.
Why do you think people can slip into an obsession over Netflix or whatever, or thread count, but they don't do that for something that could really change their life?
Feedback.
That's interesting. It's not what I expected you to say. What do you mean by that?
Because, buying something or getting pulled into Netflix, being obsessed about something that gives you no feedback is not scary. A real obsession, like trying to make an impact in the world, you're gonna get feedback. You try to make a difference in somebody's life, they're gonna tell you, that doesn't resonate with me, Brendon. You try to make a difference in a nonprofit, you try to change the world, you try to start something like this, and the views come or they don't come, there's feedback. And people are terrified. It's one of the 4 central fears we all have is rejection. We're terrified, like to be rejected. And think about, if you really want to make an impact, you're going to get a lot of judgment, you're gonna get a lot of hate, and ultimately you're gonna get rejection. People are gonna just diss on you, people are gonna say that's not good enough, people are gonna say, who do you think you are? And people are so worried about that they stop. And so it's easier. Things that don't give you feedback. Watching Netflix don't give you no feedback. It's easy. There's no disappointment there. Even if you don't like the show, what do? You just go on to the next show. There's no disappointment there. I think trying to make an impact, there's a lot of disappointment and fear and potential for rejection. So people don't get obsessed about making a difference and making an impact because it can hurt.
You're afraid of rejection, but you know you're capable of more. You're afraid of disappointing people, but you know you can make a bigger impact. You've got your foot on the brake and the gas at the same time, knowing that you could be playing a much bigger game, but being too afraid to take action. We need to change that mindset in this video. So my greatest fear is disappointing people. My greatest fear is that you're gonna watch this video, or I'm gonna be on stage, or I'm gonna be doing an interview with somebody, and I'm gonna let them down. I'm gonna disappoint them. And it led to a lot of playing small in my life. It led to a lot of me checking my email, hoping that the person I'm about to talk to cancels on me and doesn't show up because I don't get to do the interview or meet that person, but at least I won't disappoint them. I would literally be checking my email 4 hours, 3 hours, an hour, half an hour, 20 minutes, 15 minutes before I was supposed to meet somebody, hoping that they would cancel. And in my head, I'm telling myself, I'm really busy. I got lots of stuff going on, but really, I'm just afraid. I'm afraid that I'm going to disappoint them. As silly as that sounds, that was the real voice happening inside my head. Now it shows up just at a bigger scale, and it's great. In the clip before me talking was Brendon Burchard and Tom Bilyeu, because I was hanging with them in Puerto Rico earlier this year, and I was at first overwhelmed. I got there, I was speaking at Brendon's event in Puerto Rico, and then he invited me to stick around a week after to stay at the same place where he lives, to be a guest in his home, and he's bringing his friends to come in and mastermind together. No cost to join the mastermind because it's his own mastermind, except the cost of staying at this, super expensive place. And it's him and Dean Graziosi and Tom Bilyeu and Lewis Howes and Jay Shetty and all sorts of huge people who I've made videos on, and some of them I knew before, but this was a chance to spend 3 days with them in this beautiful place in Puerto Rico, workshopping, brainstorming our ideas. And the first thing that came to my head was, how am I going to bring value to these people? Because a lot of the things that I talk about, they talk about too, right? If I talk about mindset or belief or habits, Brendon Burchard teaches that too, and Tom Bilyeu teaches that too, and Jay Shetty teaches that too. And so how am I going to bring value? So my biggest fear is starting to show up, and I'm going to disappoint people. And on day one, as I'm kind of, panicking, not so visibly outside, but mentally inside, I'm fighting it with, I want to make myself proud, even if it doesn't work out. I do difficult things. I'm going to show up and do my best and try to serve and try to help. So I'm gonna not say no. Of course, I'm not going to say no. I'm going to show up and do the thing. And on day one, I'm there early because, of course, I'm there early because I don't want to disappoint people. Brendon pulls me aside and tells me that I need to make sure that I ask for something. And he tells me, Evan, you're always trying to help. You're always such a giver. You're always trying to make people, get a solution. And that's great. And that's what you're here for. But you also need to make sure that you ask. Because I guess he was concerned that I don't ask enough, that I don't ask for enough help, that I don't, I'm willing to always give and support, but not ask for anything in return. Not that it's an exchange, but people want to help me as well. And so he told me that on the first day, and I'm grateful for that, 7 minutes before day one started of this 3-day event. And he just kind of pulled me aside and told me that. And so it's a constant reminder for myself to not fear rejection, to continue to push forward, to the fact that you're afraid of it means you have to do it. And I'm super grateful for Tom for being there and for Brendon for the specific piece of advice to help me push through. And it ended up being a fantastic event. And I asked a lot and I gave a lot, and I didn't get to and to my delight, I didn't even get everything I asked for. So I went and I asked for things. I asked for this and I asked for this and I asked for this, and almost everything I got a yes for, but there were some things that people said no. I got the rejection, right? People said, no, I'm not, I can't help you with that. I'm not gonna give you that. So I kind of know where the boundaries are and the limits are, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that I'm a terrible human and I can't believe you asked me that and now I'm not in touch with these people anymore. It wasn't that at all. And so we often need that push, especially when you're feeling nervous, when your heart's beating, boom, 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 boom. You need that push to go into it, to teach yourself that you do the scary, difficult things instead of backing down, playing small, foot on the gas and brake at the same time, knowing that you're capable of more, but not taking the action you need to get to where you want to be. So how do you do it? I've got a 3-step process I'm gonna walk you through. But before that, a quick message from Brendon Burchard.
Listen, humans are built to serve. Some people are built to serve the world, others want to serve the 25 people closest to them. But in either case, humans are built to serve. So if you're not happy right now, it's because you're not serving enough. You got to pick up this book because it's so inspiring to remind you that we're all here to contribute, to make a difference, to make an impact, and this is your field guide for that.
Okay, so how do you do it? How do you overcome the fear of rejection? How do you overcome the fear of disappointing people? I follow a 3-step process I'm going to walk you through right now. Let's go. Step number 1 is remember your who. So in my book, Built to Serve, I talk about the who, why, how. So your who is your most important core value. As I've walked thousands of people now through this process, I've never found somebody's who to be something negative. It's never been something small. It's never been little. It's never been death. It's never been hate. It's always aspirational. It's always ambitious. It's always the best of you. So my who is believe. Yours might be freedom or extraordinary or inspire or something. It's always something aspirational of what you want to be. It's the best version of you. And so you need to remember that in those moments of difficulty. When you want to shrink down, when you want to play small, when that every ounce of you is saying, no, don't do this because I'm afraid I might get rejected or disappoint people, that's when you need it most. That's when I need believe the most. That's when you need your who the most. And so try to remember that. Try to embody that. Try to remember what your who is, and hopefully you've done the exercise. If not, go pick up Built to Serve. You can get it. Remembering that, keeping that top of mind when your heart's going like crazy and you're afraid to do the thing, because ultimately that's where you're going to get your big breakthrough. Ultimately, that's where you're going to get the big impact. Ultimately, that's going to be the point where you make yourself proud and you evolve into the person that you know you're capable of being. Step number 2 is remember your why. So your why is your purpose, and your purpose comes from your pain. And so if you think about the most painful moment in your life, there's lots of people who are currently feeling that pain, and you can help them. You can serve them. You can go back to, for me, the Evan at 19, 20 years old. All of the content I make, all the work that I do is really to help 19-year-old Evan who was struggling, suffering, had no self-esteem, no self-worth, no confidence. I'm making my content for him because I know there's lots of people who currently are 19-year-old Evan with no confidence, no self-esteem, no self-respect, struggling to get by. And so same thing for you. You're doing the work that you do, the ambitious work that you want to create. You're doing it because the you of 5 years ago or 10 years ago badly needs it. And there's so many people who currently are that person. so many people, and you represent hope, you represent a path out, you represent inspiration to them. And so remembering that as well can give you the courage to do the thing you're afraid to do. Remembering that I'm here to try to help inspire other entrepreneurs to believe in themselves more gives me the courage and confidence to step out onto the stage, to have the difficult conversation, to do that interview that I'm afraid to do. It gives me the push when me alone isn't enough. Knowing that I can serve, knowing that I can help, knowing that it's not even about me, it's about spreading a message that matters, can give you the courage to move forward when your self-talk alone isn't enough. So step 1 is remember your who. Step 2 is remember your why. And then step 3 is remember that you do difficult things. When everything else doesn't work, when your who is not enough, when your why is not enough, you just come down to saying, I do difficult things, period. That being afraid, being scared, having your heart go crazy like this is not a good enough reason. So back to that same story with Brendon and Tom in Puerto Rico. How we structured his day was we sat around a table and we did mastermind where everybody had 20 to 30 minutes each as we went around the table. But there was a lot of breaks. There was a lot of spare time. There was a lot of downtime. There was a lot of time for people to go have snacks and meals and hang out and get to know each other better. It was very unstructured, that part. And it instantly made me nervous. The idea that, okay, break time, go talk amongst yourselves. I'm panicking. I'm the introvert. I hate small talk. I hate introducing myself to people without any context. And my first instinct is I'm gonna go back to my room and then come back. Right? It's a 2-hour break. I'll come back in 2 hours. I'll spend the time in my room. I'll get some work done. I'll come back in 2 hours. Logically, it makes sense, right? I've got this break. I can do so much work. I can film videos. I can get back ahead because I'm way behind now on all the work I have to do. But really, it's just an excuse covering for fear because I'm afraid to go off and have these conversations. And so I forced myself to do it. I do difficult things. My heart's beating like crazy and I do difficult things. That's it. That's enough of a reason to go and create. And so I stayed the whole time. I might have been the only person who never went back to the hotel room. I stayed there and forced myself to have the conversations. And most of them went pretty well. There weren't that many that were super awkward. Some, I joined in on the conversation and didn't have much to say in a group of 3 or 4 people, and they're all talking. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what to add. So we definitely had some awkward moments, but I'm still proud of myself for doing it, for pushing through, for feeling that heart beating, boom, 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 and saying yes and making myself proud of my effort. And so that's been a constant reminder for me is yes, remember your who, your most important core value, and living up to it. And 2, remembering your why and that you're built to serve and you're trying to help other people who are struggling and suffering. It's not even about you, it's about them. And then 3, when all else fails, just to remind yourself that you do difficult thing and that if it's difficult, scary, hard, you're nervous, those are no longer good enough reasons for you to play small in your life. Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and how are you going to take action on it this week? When you schedule in what day, what time, and what place you're going to take action, you have a 91% chance of actually following through versus just a 35% chance of following through if you got motivated but never wrote down a specific plan. And when you share your plan and have accountability, you're even more likely to follow through. So in the comments below on this video right here, I want you to write down your single biggest takeaway as well as your plan of action for the next week.
We used to live in walled cities and our strength came from numbers. We were in a group and with numbers we survived. Now you can live in an apartment. You can have cats and dogs, you can have your grocery delivery, you can never see anyone, and you could live till you're 110. But we still feel this feeling, I'll die if you reject me. No, you won't. You'll get stronger. But for women especially, if you went back 500 years ago, you're a hunter-gatherer, and your guy died out spearing a wild beast, you would die. Who's going to raise your children? Who's going to feed you? So in our evolutionary psychology, we have this fear, I'll die if you don't like me. And we try to get over it by buying stuff and going to the gym and having our hair done or getting a nicer car. or trying to impress people. And what you should do is impress upon your mind, look, I know you think I'm going to die from rejection. I'm not. Actually, it's going to make me stronger. And if you can dialogue with yourself and go, okay, I've just been dumped. I feel a bit sad. It's not going to kill me. That was a starter relationship. The next one is going to be way better. Then it does make you stronger.
If you want to change your life for free in the next 30 days, check out the program right below me. Or if you want to know how to find clarity with Brendon Burchard, check out my video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe. I'll see you there.